Good morning to everyone. As always, let me know if you can hear me well. Streaming live from Kiev, my apartment. Hope you're having a great day. I don't think there's gonna be a lot of us today, and I think I'm gonna go on a break soon, but yeah. I think today I'd like to do this infinite GIF. We probably have a delay like 30 seconds, so keep that in mind. So once I'm telling you something that's already happened like 30 seconds in the past. I don't have wine, so I'm gonna be eating strawberries today. Is it good? Can someone let me know? Oops, that's me. Hey, ciao Fabio. Alrighty. It's gonna be a short stream anyway, so let's get started. I wanna recreate the GIF I did here, and just to, you know, when I'm trying to do these kind of GIFs, I always mess it up. And just for the sake of me remembering how to do this kind of an infinite animation, I wanna do this stream. So I'm gonna create the folder. I'm gonna be using Canvas Sketch for this one, because it's nice, and yeah, because it's the best thing to do looped GIFs with the JavaScript, I think. How do I call it though? Let's call it tower. Let's call it tower. Nope. 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 Creating this sketch for me, and then it's gonna restart it. I mean, start it in the browser. Here we go. And I'll probably have two sketches there, right? I'm in the tower folder, so I'll create the canvas sketch named canvas sketch. Well, why not? I accidentally put the name canvas sketch inside of the canvas sketch. I'm not on the full screen. So let's all see this wonderful effect I'm using. Yay. Yeah. Now you know exactly the delay that I have here. And some son of a gun. Thank you. Is it the line from the Three Dogs Night old song? And some son of a gun. Alright. So I just created the default Canvas Sketch template with what? With a line that you see on the first paragraph of the documentation. So it's pretty straightforward so far. And I have this cube rotating here now. And it's not that interesting. So first of all, this animation, it has two parts. The first one is that, well, the actual tower, right? And the second one is that all the cubes, maybe not the cubes, but those rectangular 3D things, and they morph into these spheres, right? So the balls. And well, where do I start? Should I create the balls first? I'll create the tower first. All right, so I'll create the I'll just move this folder into the Sublime. I'll get the brick.js file and then export function. Get brick. And then, well, to create those bricks, I think I'd like to do the same thing that I did in the previous stream. Where those bricks are. So I need to have the index and the whole number of the cubes that I have in my one row, right? Morning everyone. Yeah, so for this one I'm gonna have the index and the number, and then, well, just for the sake of debugging, I'm gonna do make it bigger. First one goes geometry. It's just gonna be what, 1, and then let it be so it has some shadows. I think I can even skip the color part. And just to check if this whole thing is working for me, I think what I want to do is to, well, import this one. And then run it. So instead of seeing this one, let's say 1.5, and well, we should see something. Well, probably we see the same thing because well, because we're returning the same kind of shape, right? But just to test, yeah. So it's working all good. We have this separate file now where we get this break thing, and yeah. What else? Now we need to consider using these index and number things. So that's where we need the geometry part. So in the last stream, I think I created it was not actually the boxes, it was like the part of the circle, the segment of the circle stuff, and I didn't need a lot of geometry for that. I just needed the angle. Well, for this one, I would need a bit of the geometry, and yeah, let's get to the mini game of the shitty drawing in the Photoshop. Shitty geometry drawings in the Photoshop. That's where I need the strawberry part. All right, have some canvas. I should really find some tool to do a geometry drawing. So I have the circle. This is the circle. No, it's not. I think I need stroke. Yeah, I have the circle. Then I have the Then I have the center of the circle somewhere. I'll use the pencil tool. Like, let's say this is the center. Come on, come on. Let's say this is the center of the circle, right? And then I have all those bricks, and they're standing like this. Well, I can actually draw the brick with a Photoshop tool in. I should really learn how to use the Photoshop. Shape thing, rectangle. So it's something like this. I don't care, let it be a field. So then I need to calculate like the dimensions of this rectangle so that they fill the whole circle, because I need something like this, right? It's shitty. Yeah, something like this. So then I would need to calculate the width of this. Come on. So this angle is actually 2 pi divided by the n. So I have, like, let's say 5 rectangles. So obviously this angle is going to be 2 pi divided by the 5, right? But then how do I calculate knowing this angle and knowing this radius? Well, let's say I know this radius is red one. How do I calculate this thing? I just do a I managed not to do an angle straight in Photoshop. Nah, I'm gonna do it straight. So I have this angle, this is the half of the angle that I knew, and this is the radius. So if I know this angle and this radius, this is just the sine, and I should multiply that sine by 2. And well, I'll just get what I deserve, and meaning the the width of this thingy. And then well, maybe I should start with getting the position too of this angle, right? So the first angle is gonna be 2 math pi divided by number, and then let's say the radius of this big tower circle is equal to I don't know, 5. And then how do I calculate the coordinate of this mesh? Mesh position set. So it's x, y, z, and y is at the top, so I only need to change x and 0, z. X and z only. And x is going to be equal the radius multiplied by mass sine of the angle. And the same goes for the z, except that it's cosine part. So just the simplest thing to do the circle, and then nothing is happening because it's way too far. And I probably need to move the camera x, y, z. So the camera is going to be having some y and z coordinate. Let's say 6, 6, 0. This is a light. This is a light. Stop that. This is the camera. Okay, it's gonna be 6 and then 6, something like this. I still don't see the shape. It's outside. Maybe I should make the radius smaller. Yeah, so I kind of see the shape. It's rotating. I don't need it to be rotated anymore. Yeah, so we see the shape. Now we can get all the shapes we need. And yeah. And where do I do this? Right where I create the mesh. Let's say the whole number of the meshes is gonna be 6. And then we have this loop, and then inside the loop, we're gonna have this. Except that it's gonna be I, and this is gonna be number. And should make some kind of circle, yeah. Oh yeah. Morning. Still something is wrong. What is wrong now? Num is not defined because I'm using, yeah, let's use num. Still something is wrong. Number is not defined. Yeah, okay. Still something is wrong, and that is what? So I'm having a loop, I'm creating the mesh, I'm adding all the meshes into the scene, and I don't see anything in anything because the angle is constant right now, and I actually need it to be multiplied by the index. Yeah, so now we have something like this. Now you know how to make a circular patterns for the shapes. But that's not good because they all rotated the same way and they don't really stick to each other. So let's get back to the geometry part. So I need to calculate, well, first we need to rotate them, yeah. And the rotation is going to be same as this angle. So mesh rotation y equals, well, the same angle, let's see. Well, now they rotated to the center. It's all good. But I can. Why would I make a variable and then not use it? Just to write more code, get more money. The more code you write, the more money you get. So now I have this circle pattern, and I can, well, make them more. Well, maybe we should leave them as 6 because they don't really touch each other right now. And what I need to do now, I need to change the dimensions of those cubes according to this kind of geometry. And well, let's try to do that. So the width, I'm going to calculate the width. The width is going to be equal to what? So first of all, it's going to be something doubled, because I'm going to be calculating only the half of this distance. So then this distance is going to be the radius multiplied by the sine. So it's going to be radius multiplied by the mass sine of this angle. And this angle is half of the angle I'm using, half of this angle. So it's going to be 2 multiplied by math pi number divided by 2. But we can remove those 2's and leave it at that. So it's going to be just the sine of the math pi divided by number. Should be right. And then I should put this width somewhere here probably. Oh no, this is the height. Maybe this one. No, this is the z coordinate. Well, I thought that it's going to be x coordinate. Why would I try something different? And now you see that they almost perfectly fit into each other. If you wouldn't be a perfectionist, you would say that they perfectly fit into each other, and then I need to put some more light, I guess, right? This is a point light. Let's say I want a directional light. Everything's gonna be bright now. Not that bright. Yeah, at least we see something. So they touch each other, but I think they even overlap each other. So it's not perfect yet. To make it perfect, and they're not perfect because of this part. Because I was calculating it to this, but I wasn't accounting to the half of the width of the this thingy. So to do that, when I'm moving the mesh, I should account for this half of the depth, and because the depth is just 1, the half of the depth is just 0.5, and it's not working properly because I don't know why it's not working properly. Maybe I should have put it to the other place all around. Okay, whatever. I'm not perfectionist after all. Well, when I'm setting the position of the rectangle, I'm probably setting the center position of this shape of this box, right? So I need to account for the half of this shape. Well, I can do something like this. This is considered cheating in all of the sports. I can just... And it's almost perfect. I don't actually need it to be perfect. I need some small holes inside of it. So even if I wanted to be perfectionist, I didn't need it. Why it's 0.1? This is the mysteries of geometry we are yet to discover in our future. So not yet. It's too early. But anyway, we are not building the proper house here. All right, so now I can do lots of those shapes, right? But I would need to change this magic number probably. Yeah. And now it's going to be 0.5, right? well, almost. Now 0.4. Well, I guess I broke something on the way, but the idea is still this one. So the number is roughly the same. I think it's just the correction that we're missing. Don't really care about that. So now we have this kind of shape. Now I'd like to build a tower out of those shapes, and let me make them not reddish. I don't like red. What's going to be the color? I don't quite like this. Yeah, let them be white for now. All right, now I want to build a tower out of this. How do I build a tower? So I need to make another loop. Like let rows equals 5, and then it's not gonna be I anymore, it's gonna be J rows, and here, and then here I can set the mesh position. What do you say? I can do this, set Y J multiplied by 1, because I have the 1 depth for each of the shapes right now. And let's see what's gonna happen. So now I have the tower. It's not yet good because they all are in the same spot, and I need them to shift a bit on odd and even rows. And to do that, I will do the say correction. No, odd. Well, it's gonna be just the row like this, and here it's gonna be something odd. Multiplied by this thing. So I'm gonna just add half of the angle. This is the whole angle, and to shift them only by half of the angle, and that should do the job, right? Row is not defined, which is J. Yeah, now we have the tower. Yeah, the colors yet need to be corrected probably in the future, but still, we have this tower with the odd and row shapes, and then we can start to move it and start to make something dynamic, right? Where do I move my tower? Probably in the render loop, and I'm gonna set the playhead because I need some time for my animation, because the only way to make an infinite animation is to make the really short one, which you can loop. It's gonna be duration 3 seconds, and what else? I think it's good. And then probably need to move the camera away a bit. It's too close. Yeah, so now we see the tower. I think I could also a bit lower that part. No. It's still way too high, so I could do the cheating again, because I'm only making a GIF anyway. Equals -5, let's say. Yeah, so the tower is a bit below us, and I should probably change the light angle so it's lights by default. X is gonna be just this one positive, probably will make. So yeah, now we see the tower, a bit below the camera center, exactly what I wanted. And then I can do this. I probably would need, I want to make an area out of those shapes. So this is animational shapes, and then nim push. Let's say y coordinate is going to be equal to j. And then let's say the mesh is going to be mesh. And then I'll add, just for the future, I add some math random part. So I have the array of all those shapes, and now I can just for each loop, let's say some object m. And inside of that object, I can what? I can do this. For each of the shapes, I can do the mesh set y, and y is going to be equal by, for the like the y coordinate, the initial y coordinate that I had, plus playhead multiplied, let's say, by 2. Let's see what's gonna happen. Yeah, position, it's not mesh. So now we have our tower moving to the top. I kind of want to make more rows here, maybe 10. And then I will need to shift my whole thing more below. So it's kind of an infinite animation. You see, it moves slowly from the bottom, even though it's not really an infinite shape, but still. Now what we need to do, we need to animate first 2 rows. So right here, when I'm doing this whole for each loop, I actually have the row number exactly here. So if the y, no, let's make it another variable. So this is the row number, and these are the 0th and 5th rows on my shape. To make them animatable, I want to do this. Right here, inside of this loop, I'll say that all the shapes should move forward, but then if the y coordinate, I mean if the row is less than 2, meaning the first rows, I would add something more to the to those shapes, right? And what's that gonna be? It's gonna be, let's say, playhead. So when I move them, like all the shapes are moving forward, but then the first 2 rows should explode even more than that. Let's make it like this, for instance. All right, and the rows are actually moving the other direction than I thought. So maybe I should change this whole thing and make it like this. I'm only changing the bottom row. Yeah, I'm building the tower from the bottom to the top. I thought I was building it from the top to bottom, and I kind of want to build it from the top to bottom. And this means, yeah, I'm probably gonna change it here, because my, this is where I should also state the minus sign. Yeah, now it's building from the bottom to the top. Now I don't really need this thing, probably. Yeah, so the first 2 are flying into the void, but then if they just disappear out of the screen, this is probably already an infinite animation, and it's a good start. Like, let's say we make it 10, and it's gonna be an infinite animation because it's gonna be hiding the screen. Yeah, it's gonna be flying into the space the whole time. Yeah, it's all Gucci. So now I need to make it a real infinite animation. So I need to account for the offset. So it's all good for those for the default shapes, but then for all the others, I would need some other math involved, and I need this. I need to calculate some local offset of those. And it's going to be playhead plus m offset, right? I named it offset. Yeah, right. It's just a random value. And then instead of using this, I can actually do this and multiply this by p. So it somewhat looks good, but not quite, right? This is a real challenge for me because I always mess it up in this place exactly. I can build all kinds of towers, but then when it comes to these coefficients, these random values, I always mess it up every single time. So we can also do this. Playhead equals 1 minus playhead, and what do you expect? We're gonna just invert the whole animation. I'm gonna try to build the tower now. But all those shapes, when they come to the bottom, they just disappear. So what I need to do, and like when the playhead is 0, they actually should be right in the default place. But when they come to the default place, they just disappear because, well, it's nothing in there, right? So I probably need to make a duplicate shape. Like one shape is going to be coming from the top, and another shape is going to be just the tower shape, right? Duplicate, and then the duplicate shape. So they're going to be exactly the same, except that right. Why it's not animating now? Because yeah. So now we somewhat have the animation, but it's not building yet. Already it looks nice, and I think it's infinite. If you just hide the bottom part of the screen, they really fall in the infinite way. But that's not the way we need it. Now we need to build the tower. Now we need to build the actual tower. To do that, well, first of all, maybe let's try to colorize all those shapes. And to do that, I would just make the random values for the 2 rows only. I'll make them maybe black and whitish. I think that should be good. So I'm gonna calculate the random values. Random is gonna be array, fill. No, it's not like that. It's like array. How many of those do I need actually? I'm gonna have 2 rows. Hey max, I'm gonna have 2 rows, and then I'm gonna fill them with the something, and then I fill them with another array. Yeah, so it's gonna be 2 rows with the 12 elements in each other, right? So it's two-dimensional array, and then I'll just make a loop. J less than 2, and then random I j, it's gonna be either 0 or 1, let's say. It's random 0, 1, just a random value. And then in here, I wanna do this thing, so I wanna return either 0 or 1. So I'm gonna return here I is a num, so it's gonna be I again, and then the j is gonna be something modulo 2, because I only have this array for only have 2 rows in the array. So now I have this random value inside my getBrick function, and let's say it's color. Array full. Property 0 of undefined. What the hell? Maybe it's the other way around. And this means it's the other way around here too. Yeah, it's good now. Just mix the dimensions of the array and then those colors here. So it's gonna be color and then let's say this and something black. Yeah, right now we have some kind of pattern in our tower. It's either black or white, and they are just it's just a repeating pattern in my tower. And I need it if I want to make an infinite animation. I need this pattern to repeat itself. Alright, now we need to make the correct building of the tower so the shapes do not disappear and they actually stay in the tower. For that I just introduced the duplicate mesh, right? So now I need to do the animation for the duplicate mesh. Okay. So I think the most important thing for me to remember here is that I don't want to move all the shapes. So first of all, I'm going to calculate some shift, like some offset for each of the shapes, and it's going to be something like playhead plus set. So this is the current offset of each of the shapes, right? So I'm animating every single shape on my screen right now. For the first two rows, it's going to be something different, and for everybody else, it's going to be just the moving part, right? So I'm going to move the whole scene is going to be moving upwards, but then it's going to be different for each of the shapes in the first two rows, right? Maybe I could do this a bit easier. It's going to be doing this way. I'm going to group all the shapes and I'm going to move this whole group. I'm going to add this group, and then instead of adding to the scene, I'm going to add to the group. And then here I'm gonna move this one. Right below this. Yeah, so it's kind of the same, but the shapes are now jumping a bit, right? Even the shapes that are falling down, they are now jumping. Well, maybe there is an easier way to do this, and if you do know this, just let me know. I mean, for this whole math with the offsets, let's try to do this one. I'm gonna split my screen. Yeah, so we see the animation, the whole thing is seen now. Alrighty, now the most challenging and complicated part. I'm actually doing this, you know, I'm gonna tell you. I've done this animation like 5 or 6 times in my life, and every time I spend almost an hour figuring out the correct part right here. And this is like, I'm challenging my fear because every single time I'm stuck with this part. But with your help, and with the strawberry help, I hope we can make it. Alright, let's try to do that. So if the row is less than, say, first 2 rows, I wanna do something to my shape. I think I don't really need the duplicate shapes. For all the other rows, I don't really need the duplicate shape. If I just hide them, it doesn't change anything, right? Visible false. Yeah, it actually doesn't do anything yet because I'm not really changing the duplicate shape position to, but still we can do this. All right, so now inside of this shape I had this calculation, like the modulo 1, but I don't really need it. I can do this. So I need to know when the p is greater than 1, because when the p is 1, this means that the shape the shape should be in place, right? And so I need another conditional here. So if p is say greater than 1, I do something, and then else I do something else. All right, now what should I do there? I probably shouldn't move the shapes when I don't know where to move them. So it's only the tower I'm moving now. So if the p is greater than 1, that means the shape already came into the place, and that means that I need to show the duplicate. And if it's not, yes, it should be right here. Where did it go? And if it's not, this is false. Well, let's see what's gonna happen now. Well, nothing is happening yet because I'm not really moving any shapes, so they are both staying in the same spot. But this seems right to me. All right, the next thing to do, I want to animate first 2 rows. Remember, I'm only setting this for the first 2 rows, and this is for the shapes that already came into the place, like the p is greater than 1, and this is for the shapes that are still being animated. So for the shapes that are still being animated, I think I would just do I would do this setting position. It's going to be my plus p multiplied by 10. Well, that's something. That's something. So now they keep on disappearing because I'm probably doing it the wrong way. I mean, the animation is going the other way around right now. And how do I change that, though? You know, you see, this is a simple thing. There's just a couple of small steps left to do it right. And I'll try to write the whole idea here again. So if the p is greater than 1, this should be p minus 1 probably, right? Oh. Well, thank you. That's really inspiring about the Minecraft. All right. Almost there, actually. There's just 2 or 3 lines left, just to make them correct one. So if p is greater than 1, I think I would need to move it by the playhead too. Something is wrong with the ranges of the p. What's that? What's that? Well, I think in the first place I wanted this animation to be the other way around, right? I want it to be growing and then they all disappear. So I'm gonna do this now. Yeah, we're getting there. Not yet, but we're getting there. And I think the same thing I need to do for this shape. Like, let's remove this part. Well, it's actually working, but when the p sets to greater than 1, we need to do something, right? And we're not doing yet anything. And to do this, I would need to make this one 1 minus p. So maybe I should guess the right code and then we would. This seems right. but doesn't work for some reason. Maybe minus here. No, it's not the way. All right. Getting stuck again with this shit. So it's almost there. Almost there. So it's viewed from the distance. Well, for some reason, some of the shapes starting at the bottom even. And why is that? Why does that even happen? Oh, because p is greater than 1, and I'm subtracting from 1. So this is going to be a negative value, so it's going to be 2. Well, this is the right thing to do. I think this is working properly now. It's just that we have this small glitch that the shapes from the second row are starting to go off before the shapes from the first row. And to account for that, I need, because I have they're all just random, the offset is random. And to make it not random, I would need to do this. I would need to calculate the row, and the row is actually j divided by 2, and then add the random divided by 2. This means actually that all the offsets for the second row is going to be less than all the offsets for the first row, but this is still going to be random. So let's see. Yay, I think we built the infinite tower just like that. I think I spent like 5 minutes just on these lines. This is the infinite tower right there. So what is happening here? Let me break that down for me. Let me break that down for me. Yeah. So I'm only changing something for the first 2 rows. And for all the other rows, I can hide the duplicate shape at all. So if the p is greater than 1, and this means that the shape is already traveled to his end position, then I need to return it back. So this is actually looking like this. This is 1 minus p minus 1, something like this. This is where the 2 appears from here. So I'm subtracting 1 because the shape already, this could actually be something like this also. So I'm just subtracting 1 here just to get it back into the path. And then I'm also showing the starting shape, the duplicate shape. And I'm not really changing position of the duplicate shape. So the duplicate shape is always stays at the tower. Right. So we can do it vice versa now. And I'm going to build the tower. So it's going to be 2 minus p. And I always mess up with this part, you know, it's kind of not obvious to me. Maybe there's a more clear way to do this. So when the p, right now, when the p is greater than 1, the shapes should stay in place. And that's when I show the duplicate shape. And right when I show the duplicate shape, I set the mesh position back to somewhere at the top. That's what's happening here. And then when the p is less than 1, that means the shape still falling down, then means the duplicate shape should be hidden because it's not yet there. This is the brick that stays at the tower. Yeah. Well, I hope I will be able not to make mistakes in this one somewhere in future. Well, thank you. So these are the shapes. We can actually make it more than 2 rows, and for this I would need to change the depth to the 4 rows and move it 4 rows forward. And then I would need to math random divided by 4, j divided by 4, just to see it as a more random thingy. And then property 0 of undefined, of course. Where exactly did it happen? Oh yeah, because initiating array is the wrong way. So right now it's a lot more random. You see the pattern repeating every 4 rows now, and it's kind of cool. I think what else we could do here? I have some is-ins there. Nah, I'm gonna just Google is in out quint. I think quint looks the best. I hope they have the JavaScript function here though, and they don't. JavaScript, yes, should be the answer. Quint, I'm looking for the quint. Is in out quint, here it is. So I'm gonna make this function is in out quint. This is the function, and then I can use it on my P. So I actually, instead of I can do this. Just P, and here's going to be P minus 1, because this is P when greater than 1. It's going to be is in between 1 and 2, and this is going to be is in between 0 and 1. And let's see what's going to happen now. Yeah, it's a bit more, you know, natural, like, I don't know. Some shapes have stopped working correctly for some reason. Okay, let's get back a bit. Did it work right? Yeah, it was good. It's something is wrong with the is-in function. Well, this still looks cool, right? You can look at a different angle, like this, for example. It's also going to be an infinite animation. You can try all kinds of angles here. And I think if you just drew, why didn't it work actually? Let's try the simplest kind of animation. So it's going to be P, something like this. Yeah, it's working good. Just that I need it the other way around. And why is it quint? Is it not correct one? Why didn't it work for me? Where's this quint thing? Didn't I copy it properly? What's wrong with this T? What's wrong with it? I don't know, maybe it's something wrong when I copied the function. So I actually need an out animation. Let's try as an out quad. This one should be right. What is wrong with those is-ins? I guess I messed up the big time in somewhere else. Oh, this is gonna be the homework probably. Because this looks perfectly fine when they fall down the other way around. I think those is-ins are a bit wrong in some way. I'll probably need to fix that. Well, of course you can see the magic at the top when the shape appear, but if you do it like this, you wouldn't be able to see that. And the shapes will never overlap because the offsets are different. Well, maybe sometimes offset could be quite small, but they're still different because of this function. Because of this. And this means that for the first row, the offsets would be between 0 and 0.25. And for the second row, between 0.25 and 0.5, and so on. So this means that they will never overlap. So here we go. We just created the GIF. I think it's an hour, and then I'm gonna spend my time fixing my homework, like why do the easing doesn't work on these. But probably some easy mistake here, and we would be able to fix it. Math flare, but yeah, we could do that, but what would that simplify, right, in this situation? Keyboard, I'm using just the MacBook Pro. This setup is under the streams usually. You can check out my setup, my video, and all this stuff. And I have the Japanese t-shirt then. This was the bad one. Alrighty. So we created this thing, and maybe on the next stream I'll show you how can you morph each shape into one another. Maybe what's wrong is that the values are too close. They're just too many. It's 4 rows and they're just too close, and that's why the easing function make them overlap. So maybe I should have just made something like this, so they travel more and they're gonna be more separated in space, and they wouldn't ever overlap. This is probably the reason. It's nice. Maybe I should add shadow tint here, and it's gonna look nice with the shadows, so that you can see each shadow of the cube. But otherwise, well, that's what I wanted to show you. If you have some questions, just ask me right now. I'm not sure about the next Sunday. I also have a plan of starting some kind of course, so the workshops, and maybe it should be the Patreon only. Well, obviously, just so I would see why I make all those efforts. And right now you can go and support me on Patreon. Maybe I could break this record of the $100, maybe not. I'd be grateful anyway. So that's what I created today. And the most complicated part is actually in those bunch of lines. And this is usually like that. The most complicated part is just a couple of lines. So yeah, thank you for being with me today. I'm glad you supported me. I know that's not a lot of us today. Yeah, kind of made a lot of streams by this time. But I'm glad you guys are still here. I'm gonna eat some strawberry. Thank you. Yeah, short stream today, I'm sorry about that. But I just made this mistake. Yeah, thank you guys and gals. Have a great day. I hope you have someone to tell them that you love them. If not, just call your parents.